This morning, Cardinal Blase Cupich embarking on a mission to Puerto Rico. The leader of the Chicago Archdiocese heads there today, showing his support for those still recovering from that devastating hurricane back in September.
The Cardinal is making the visit at the request of Pope Francis, and our very own Alan Krzyzewski is there as well. Joins us live this morning. Good morning, Alan.
Good morning, Stacey. Good morning, Diane. Good morning to all of you there in Chicago. Cardinal Cupich arrives here this afternoon, but we're already here, of course, in San Juan. We're getting a sense of the progress that's been made here since that incredibly massive storm, and we're also getting a sense of the mountain of need that still remains here on this island. And look behind me here. You see some of the commercial buildings and some of the residential buildings, apartments here, where to some extent life has returned to normal for these folks. But then just look right across the street from me here, and you see a building that's been totally destroyed from the hurricane. This going back, remember, to September 20th. So right now we're talking about a building that has no sign of rebuilding going on here in terms of somebody coming back in here. And so here you have nearly 3 months after Hurricane Maria, and this island really is still struggling to stand. We could see this, in fact, when we arrived here on San Juan, approaching from the air. The first sign you see that something's not really normal is that checkerboard pattern down there, the blue tarps covering many of the roofs. Tarps provided by the Federal Emergency Management Agency. They cover all those damaged roofs of homes from the hurricane. Really just too many of them to even count. Now, there are some positive signs in the harbor. We've got cruise ships in port here in San Juan. That signals at least the return of tourists and their dollars to help fuel the economy here. We caught up with some of those tourists from Chicago at the airport baggage claim, and they really have a role in Puerto Rico's long recovery.
We've talked to the cruise ships and the hotels and Hilton. We're staying at the Hilton tonight, and they guaranteed us that everything was going to be okay. So we're taking their word for it.
As soon as we leave here,
She'll spend some money.
I'll do a little spend some money in the area.
Well, money would certainly help, that's for sure. But the challenges the residents facing here with a lack of electricity, the power lines down still, reliable drinking water, all of those problems are long-term. The people, though, that I've spoken with here already have truly a remarkable resiliency. I think you'd say they have an ability to face life difficulties one day at a time. We'll be sharing their stories with you, and of course we'll be sharing as well the Cardinal's trip here when he arrives here this afternoon and the few days that he's going to be spending here on the island. And I'll have those reports for you a little bit later on Eyewitness News today, both at 5 o'clock and at 10 o'clock tonight. But for now, live in San Juan, Alan Krzyzewski, ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Stacey and Diane, back to you in Chicago.
Alan, really quick, before we let you go, we were able to talk to a lot of the Red Cross volunteers from Chicago or the surrounding area in Chicago that are in Puerto Rico. Some in San Juan, but some, they say the biggest challenges is getting to those remote areas. Is that what you're seeing, that San Juan itself is maybe not that bad, but those outside areas are a little bit more challenging to get to?
Yeah, there's no question that the further you get away from San Juan and the major metropolitan areas, that the more disaster you're going to see. The reality is that when the storm came through, of course, you had roads that were blocked and things that were impassable and no one could even get through. We're going to venture a little further on this island, of course, over the few days to come. But what we've seen already in traveling about, maybe 30 miles outside of San Juan, you can see communities where some houses are completely destroyed. You can see residents that are attempting to make do, those blue tarps, of course, saving them from at least roofs leaking on them persistently. But the problems are long-term. The electrical grid here, for instance, was not in that great of a shape before the hurricane came. And when it came in, it just knocked everything out. So, and it's very difficult to replace segments of that and bring it all back at the same time. They've been working to give it some reliability, but it truly is going to be long-term. The folks I spoke to today, this morning, they're saying they're being told they might not have electric power back until February. Wow. Can you imagine being in Chicago and being told that your power is going to be out from September until February?
Yeah,
that's what they're dealing with here.
It's heartbreaking.
So many months. All right. Thank you very much, Alan. We appreciate your time this morning.